My name is Liz Partsch.
And I'm Paul Rowley.
And welcome to Farm & Dairy's virtual newsletter.
Where we will be giving you a rundown of all the news this week.
Yes.
And lots of happenings there were. So,
yes,
yeah.
like every week.
Yeah, I guess I'm Yoda now. The Ohio State Fair is back for its 170th year. Congratulations to her.
Wait.
Yep, there it is. Running through August 3rd in Columbus. And whether you're going for the thrill rides, whether you're going for the livestock, whether you're going for any of the food, my personal fave being deep fried Oreos, which I would happily eat for every meal
yum.
and occasion, there is indeed something for everyone. So let's start with some of the attractions, which I was very fortunate to get, a preview of. The new this year is the Scorpion, which is this spinning inverted thrill ride with 3 arms and 21 cars kind of doing this. It's crazy. That joins a really full lineup, including like bumper boats and a giant pool. There was the legendary Mega Drop Tower. Mary Talley from Talley Amusements, who sort of like coordinates all the rides. The OGA works with that company. She said that's her go-to ride. She's ridden it over 100 times. It's a big tower and it just kind of flings you up and then drops you down. If you're in a bad mood, she says it is the ultimate mood like improver. Because who's need therapy? Just jump on the mega tower. If rides are not your thing, adrenaline rushes and that sort of thing, the fair is otherwise packed with a lot of family-friendly fun, which is live music, daily lumberjack shows, a butterfly house, literal kayaking, a free petting zoo, sweeping views from the sky glider that's hanging overhead. So it is like a jam-packed like week or so. Of course, there will also be the famous butter cow, which is carved entirely out of literal butter, which is a true Ohio icon. And if you're thinking about safety, especially when it comes to those rides, officials told me that you can rest easy, even if you have some like Final Destination fantasies sort of brewing in your mind. The Ohio Department of Agriculture has been working behind the scenes to make sure that all of these rides are up to the very strict standards that they operate at. Each one is inspected bolt by bolt, I am told. Director Brian Baldridge told me that inspectors are on site from the moment setup begins until the rides are open to the public. And then, of course, there are people doing like spot checks and that sort of thing throughout the whole fair. Nothing moves without a permit. Ron Dean, who is the chief ride inspector, he gave us a peek into what that process is like, me and the other media folks that were there on Monday, checking rider restraints and safety switches, making sure that all that stuff works right, reviewing paperwork and even doing like nitty gritty stuff like checking out like torque settings. So the goal is just to keep every visitor safe while they're having fun. And then don't forget, this fair is obviously just as much about celebrating Ohio's roots as it is about entertainment and all the other stuff. From Ohio Proud Foods, which I think are foods that are going to be for sale at the fair that are made with at least like 50% of ingredients being sourced from Ohio, to wineries, sampling of all the wineries. There's like 400 that are going to be on,
That's
on
so
display
cool.
there. So lots of stuff to check out at the fair.
Sounds really fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this week I didn't write about something as fun, but wrote about owners of gas wells in Marietta, Ohio that are finding fracking waste in their wells from nearby Class 2 injection wells.
Wow.
Yes. So for those who may not know, fracking wastewater, known as brine water, is a byproduct of unconventional oil and gas drilling. And it is stored in Class 2 injection wells as a way to isolate this fluid from getting into the environment. Oh. And that's pretty important because this brine, like water, contains heavy metals and radioactive substances that, if they were to get into like water or onto the land, it could damage the environment and public health. Yeah. So it's really important. It's isolated, and that information is according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. But yeah, so it is really important, that doesn't get into water. Bob Lane and Bob Wilson have been producing gas or owners of gas wells and producing gas since the 70s. But recently, things have kind of taken a turn. In 2019, both owners noticed their well was filled with what they suspected was brine water. So they reached out to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and eventually the ODNR, which is the agency responsible for regulating these wells, came out to inspect the wells and took some samples of what was in the wells. And the results released in June of 2020 really found that it was brine water, brine waste that had migrated from the nearby Redbird 4 injection well into 28 production wells in Marietta County.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's pretty important because Marietta is located, that's because Washington County, where Marietta is located, is home to many Class 2 injection wells,
Oh.
17 according to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources.
Mm.
And most of that brine waste comes from the neighboring states of Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So it's
Okay.
not all Ohio's waste.
Yeah.
A lot of states are bringing this brine waste that is going to these injection wells in Washington and Athens counties, so the
Got it.
southeast Ohio region.
Hmm.
So the Bobs filed lawsuits in 2019 against injection well companies, but the lawsuits haven't been heard in court yet, even after 6 years.
Interesting.
And that's because it's just been getting appealed over and over again. So it had to happen twice.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the Bobs are seeing more and more of their wells flooded, and owners of gas wells in the area more of them are starting to see the same problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not just the Bobs anymore.
Yeah.
And now Marietta residents are also concerned, well, if this brine waste can get into gas wells, could this get into our local water sources, our local water wells?
Wow.
So the Warren Community Water and Sewer Association, which is a water service provider in Marietta, Ohio, recently held a public meeting on July 15th to really discuss these concerns with residents.
Yeah.
They also wanted to hear from gas production owners if their wells are flooded.
Yeah.
So to read more about that meeting and more about the Bob's stories, you can check out farmerdairy.com.
That's so interesting. My goodness.
Yeah.
I love that they're the Bobs too. But,
Yeah, that they're the Bobs.
yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely something that needs to be looked at closely, though.
For sure.
It sounds like it's just continuing to build.
Yeah, Steph. Well, on August 2nd and 3rd, in the quiet village of Mount Pleasant, Ohio, the Historical Society of Mount Pleasant is planning to hold an event called Friends to Freedom, and it's commemorating 160 years since the end of slavery in the United States in the Civil War.
Yeah!
Yes.
Love that.
This immersive and very immense experience will take you through a village that once stood at the front lines of the fight for abolition. So, Mount Pleasant was...
Abolition.
Yes, abolition.
Abolition.
Mount Pleasant was founded in 1803 by Quakers as a sanctuary on the Underground Railroad and home to Ohio's first anti-slavery convention way back in 1837, which is super neat, as a matter of fact. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
During
right
this
before the Civil War.
I know.
Yeah.
During this 2-day event, visitors will join guided walking tours through the National Historic Landmark District, exploring 12 stops, many of which are including historic homes, churches, and restored landmarks. Very nice. One highlight is the J.T. Updegraff House. And let me tell you about J.D. He was a Quaker doctor who also served as a Civil War surgeon. Very neat. And then later as a U.S. congressperson. So that's quite interesting. Yes.
Was there a clap there?
Yes, for JD.
Another clap.
Another clap. You'll also step inside the Harris Bone Log Cabin, which was built in 1804, and the Benjamin Lundy Free Labor Store, which was a pioneering Quaker business that sold only goods that was not produced by slave labor, which is very, very significant and important. The store is now being restored by the Ohio History Connection, so that is very interesting. And then don't miss the Underground Railroad stations, which are recreated throughout the village. There's other sites that you will want to check out as well, including the Drovers Camp and tours of historic churches, including the United Methodist Church, which was originally founded in 1798, the same year that some of our sitting congresspeople were born. Its members, like the Quakers, were deeply committed to liberty and anti-slavery. The names of Civil War soldiers are also inscribed on some of the bricks there, so very cool to check out.
How cool.
Yes, indeed. And tickets are just $15, and that's for adults. And it's free for children, I believe, under the age of 12, accompanied, of course, by an adult. So children should be seen and not heard. You can grab your map and ticket at the Burris General Store or the Elizabeth House Mansion Museum. You can't miss it. It's very big, right in town. Proceeds will support the preservation of all of these buildings. Keeping Mount Pleasant, beautiful and vibrant for years and generations to come.
Yeah. How lovely.
Indeed it is.
How lovely. I
Yes.
must have to check it out.
Please.
Indeed sounds like a
You must
wonderful
go.
day.
Yes.
Well, in other news, we're going to leap into our regular voices. In our next story, by our dirt columnist this week, Kelly Riley, which that sounds like a really cool name, Kelly Riley, on how to help the amphibians in decline.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so according to Riley, as many as 40 species of amphibians call Ohio home, including the American toad, spring peeper,
Love it.
green frog, spotted salamander, and the endangered eastern hellbender.
I love that name.
Yeah, hellbender.
The hellbender?
I want to be known as the hellbender.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah. But that's actually the largest salamander in North America, so even cooler that it has the name hellbender.
Nice.
But globally, over 40% of amphibians, which consist of frogs, toads, and salamanders, face extinction. Wow.
Yeah.
So, and that's because of habitat loss, pollution, climate change, disease, and invasive species, Riley says, which seems like a trend with a lot of species.
Yeah.
Amphibians are particularly sensitive to environmental changes because they do not drink water.
Oh.
Yeah, they actually absorb it through their skin.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
And this permeable skin actually allows them to absorb toxins, making them, natural biomonitors, which is like fascinating.
That is
to
so
me
cool.
That, they can do that.
Right.
Another way that they are extremely important to the ecosystem and the environment itself is because they control insect populations, and a lot of them are, pretty harmful insects that they eat, including mosquitoes and agricultural pests. So an interesting fact that she had in the story is that the average toad eats almost 10,000 harmful insects during a 3-month period.
That's like incomprehensible.
Yeah.
That's so many.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine.
One toad.
Right?
That's
one
crazy.
toad.
Yeah.
Imagine a million.
Right.
So in the story, Riley suggests several ways to help amphibians, including protecting wetlands and avoiding pesticides.
Cool.
But to really, find out more about the ways you can help amphibians and more really about amphibians, check out the paper or website this week to check out Riley's column.
That is so cool. I think amphibians are so cool. I'm also obsessed with some of that's so cool. The hell.
Yeah.
What was it? The
hellbender.
The hellbender.
I think it's so cool that they absorb water through their skin. That was whoa, that's cool.
That's so neat. Well, if you are a mosquito, I know what you just heard might be a little troubling to you, but don't fret. I have great news for you. Your honorable brethren in Mahoning County, Ohio, and also in Mercer County, Pennsylvania, have just made headlines. Okay, they just tested positive for West Nile virus. So mosquitoes, they're very proud of them. Glory unto them,
glory to them.
discomfort and death to all life on earth. That's like the mosquito mantra. So that's right. Health officials there have confirmed that several brave mosquitoes who sacrificed their lives after being caught in surveillance traps that were testing for the very thing that they found in Austin Town and Beaver Townships, as well as in Grove City, have tested positive for the West Nile virus.
Yeah.
Most people, so here's kind of like a little breakdown on the virus. Most people, at least for people who are afflicted with the virus, they actually don't experience symptoms, which I didn't know until reading this article.
Yeah, that's scary.
Right. It can, for those that do experience symptoms, it can cause fever, body aches, rashes, and in rare cases, like really severe illness, especially in folks over 60 or folks who might be immunocompromised with medical conditions, that sort of thing. In some cases, West Nile might even pose serious neurological complications. So that's scary for people. For our mosquito listeners, before you celebrate, put down those Lego champagne flutes, okay? So far, no human cases have been reported, which is good for people. But for our human listeners, this is your cue to take precautions against this tiny creature whose I think it's an objective fact to say that it's like their sole goal is to drink all of your blood and, if at all possible, take your life too.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes,
vampires.
right? I think that tracks. Mosquitoes interviewed for this article say that that's no reason not to get outside. Don't stop. Go outside right now, preferably while wearing that sleeveless tank that makes your arms look really big, or that tight pair of shorts that you can just fit into still after all these years that just feel right. And make sure that you're going out at dusk or early at dawn. That's according to mosquitoes. They want you to go out at those times specifically. Mosquitoes also recommended against the use of insect repellent, specifically kinds that are laced with DEET or DEET, as it makes it harder for them to find you. But they say mosquitoes are like, don't bother.
Yeah.
Don't bother. Just, raw dog it. They say you're going to want to leave all of your windows wide open at all hours. Specifically, again, at the aforementioned dawn or dusk, and to leave sources of standing water available in as many locations as possible. We're talking bird baths, buckets, like never clean that bird bath, buckets of water, kiddie pools, clogged gutters, never clean your gutters, according to a mosquito, just to name a few locations. To serve as their nurseries. In a statement, mosquitoes also said, "We are legion." I don't really know what else that means or what that is entirely in reference to. But anyway, that's just advice for mosquitoes. You should take other precautions, though, if you are
Thanks
human.
for the 101 on how to get West Nile virus.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, I got some exciting news.
Yeah.
On our auction front this week, we had the Columbiana County Agriculture Hall of Fame recently named 2025 inductees.
Oh, cool.
Which were the late Thomas J. Roush of Wayne Township and the late Shirley and Neil Lippincott of West Township.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm going to take us way back now to 1815 when President James Madison signed a deed to the land that would become the Lippincott family farm in Minerva.
That's exciting for
Wow,
them.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Neil Lippincott took over the family's farm, which was then 230-acre dairy and hog farm at the age of 15.
Whoa.
After his father died, right?
Oh, my.
I couldn't imagine running an entire farm
I
at
know.
15. And then in 1950, he met Shirley.
Shirley.
Yes, and they married a year after they graduated high school.
Aw.
So sounds like love at first sight to
Yeah.
me.
Wow.
Shirley became a key part of operations on the farm, the two working side by side to build up the farm, including a diversified grain and livestock farm, milking Holsteins, raising hogs, and growing corn, wheat, oats, alfalfa hay, and soybeans.
Wow. They were productive.
Yeah, they did a lot.
Yeah.
They were also part of the Columbiana County Farm Bureau,
Oh, okay.
among other things. So Neil's obituary really summed up his love of farming best.
Yeah.
And I wanted to include the whole quote that they had in there because it was just so beautiful to me. Neil not only planted seeds on the farm, he planted seeds of generosity, respectfulness, perseverance, and a relentless desire to get the job done.
Wow.
He believed that hard work and diligence have a moral benefit and an inherent ability to strengthen character.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. He lived to make his good better and his better best.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Yeah,
so
that
whoever
is.
wrote that did a wonderful job.
Yeah, kudos to them.
Yeah. But now the seventh generation of the Lippincott family runs the farm, so the trend continues. And from the article, you can read more about how the family as well. Now on to Thomas J. Roush, who's spent his entire adult life serving others. So he served in both the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Army, and get this, from 1957 to 1978.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is almost 2 decades. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that included 2 tours in Vietnam where he earned 2 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart.
Wow.
Yeah, so wow, what an incredible man. And then when he returned home to Columbiana County, he shared his passion of serving others again by teaching at the county's new technical school. And he taught agriculture equipment and mechanics as well as environmental technology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was another. And then I think he kind of went on to, work at more schools. And then he also was an FFA advisor among many other things. So if you want to read more about him or more about all these other incredible individuals, and when the ceremony would take place, you should visit farmanddairy.com.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, all of these individuals are dead and have passed. But when I pass, I just hope that I can accomplish as much as these people
That is
have
so
done.
right.
So,
Yeah.
it was really beautiful.
Yeah. And to have someone write such a nice obituary about you too. It's just
Right?
like, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really
So,
cool. Well, I think that is all the top stories in our paper this week.
To read the full stories, visit farmanddairy.com or find your local newsstand.
And thank you so much for tuning in. Please join us next time. Bye-bye.